Chosen vessels, what's the deal? It's your main man Drutube, and I'm back at you again with another video. I need each and every vessel to hit that like button, hit that share button, and don't forget to subscribe. Shout out to the Galactic family, the GCVs, and of course, Drew Nation. Let's get right into it. Who your neighbor really is, and why God said you are supposed to love them as you would yourself. Now, we've all got neighbors. Those are the people who live next door to us, bring us little treats and stuff around the little holidays and whatnot. Little cookie platter, little pies. Little things like that. There are people who live close to you, people who live right down a couple doors from you. Right down a few doors from you. All right, there are people you wave to when you get your mailbox. Howdy neighbor. All right, those are people you speak to when you take your trash out and whatnot. All right, those are people you speak to when you go to. I'm not sure if I said go get your mail or whatever, but go get your mail, take your trash out, cut your grass, water your lawn. All right, those are the people that you see. All right, but your real neighbor, that's not who God was talking about. He wasn't talking about the people that live right next door to you. He wasn't talking about the people 4 doors down from you. The person that he wasn't talking about them. That's not what God means when he says your neighbor. That's not what he's talking about. No. Mm-mm. All right? Your true neighbor is yourself. Your true neighbor is you. Because if you don't treat you right, if you don't do you right, how would you be able to do anybody else right? That's who your true neighbor is, ladies and gents. Your true neighbor is the man or woman that you see when you look in the mirror. That's your true neighbor. You have to be right to yourself, or you can't be right to anybody else. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Your neighbor is you. When you are good to you, when you treat yourself right, you'll be good to everyone else. People who aren't able to be good to other people is usually something internally that they've got going on. When people aren't able to be right to the people around them, it's usually something internally that they've got going on, something inside here that they got going on, something that's not right in here or in here, something internally. They got some internal conflict. Ain't nobody else's fault. They shouldn't even put themselves at fault for it, but what they should do is work on it. What they should do is ask themselves, what's the matter? What's wrong with me? Why don't I have the right idea about myself? Why don't I feel good about who I am? If you don't feel good about who you are, how could you possibly feel good about somebody else? How could you possibly feel good about who or how or what someone else is? Got to feel good about you first. Put your own oxygen mask on first. You are your first neighbor. You are the neighbor you have to feel good about first. You are the neighbor that has to be most important to you. You are the neighbor that you have to be your best person to. Your neighbor is you, the spiritual man, the spirit man, the spirit self, the spirit body. You got to be good to you, mind, body, and soul. You got to be good to you. That way, when you have the right idea about yourself, your self-esteem is high, you have courage, you're courageous, you believe in yourself, you're not a fearful person, you're not a hateful person, you're not a toxic person, a negative person, to the best of your ability, of course. You focus on your divine self, focus on your healthy self. even your wealthy self. Don't count him out. You got to give him some shine. Shout him out too. All right, he makes it happen. But your neighbor really is you, and you're supposed to be treating yourself good. You're supposed to be treating yourself better than anybody else. You're supposed to be doing more right by you than anybody else. So if you're not treating you right, if you're not doing right by you, shit, you can kiss goodbye being right or good to anybody else. Just think about that. How would it be possible? Just think for a second. How would it even be possible? How's it logically possible to be good to somebody? Hey, neighbor, imagine you not feeling good and hello, neighbor. Yo, you not, leave me alone, mother. You're not gonna have anything positive or good to say if you're not being good or positive to yourself. It's all about you when it comes to this neighbor business. It's all about you when it comes to being good to your neighbor. You are your first neighbor. Not your only neighbor, not your last neighbor, but you are your first neighbor. You are the first person that you meet every single day. You are the first person that you have to deal with every single day. You are the first person you have to hear from every single day. You should be the first person that you're checking on. You should be the first person that you're making sure is right. Hey, we all right? We all right? Hey, what type of attitude do I got going on today? And it could be a positive one. Just because you say attitude doesn't mean don't put something negative on it. What type of attitude am I taking to today with? What type of spirit or attitude am I bringing into my day today? What type of spirit am I going into with this day? Am I going in today with a positive spirit? Am I going in today as a optimistic person, somebody who's looking at life like things are going to work out? That's who your neighbor is. You got to care about you. It's good to be good to other people. You got to be good to you. Hey, how are we looking at life? Hey, how are we looking at things that are going on in our life? Are we good? Are we straight? That's the only type of person you want to ask we questions to is you and besides maybe a business partner. Careful who you ask we questions with. That's something totally different. But anyway, who your neighbor is really you. And this is why God said you are supposed to love them as you would yourself. You should love your neighbor as you would yourself. You're being good to your spirit and good to your spiritual self, your physical self. You're being good to you. Love your neighbor as you would yourself. If you can love yourself, just imagine how you would treat other people. If people love themselves, how do you think they would be treating others? Pretty darn good, right? People would be treating people really well, really good. If people love themselves, they'd be treating others fantastically, phenomenally, marvelously. You got to make sure you're doing right by you. You got to make sure you're treating you right. You got to make sure you're putting yourself first. Sounds taboo, putting myself first. I'm supposed to be putting God first. I'm supposed to be putting other people first. You even got to put yourself first to put God first. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you. You got to put yourself first to even put God first in your life. Because if your mind is jacked up and you so angry and upset, that he's going to be the last thing on your mind, because you're going to be that you know what, you're going to be drifting over to the other side. You're going to be drifting over to the other side. You don't want to be on the side of negativity. You don't want to be on the side of having hatred towards yourself, being a bad person to yourself, telling yourself negative things, telling yourself you're this, you're that, you can't do this, you can't do that. Oh, I'm this, I'm that. Sometimes we're really hard on ourselves. Sometimes we're really bad on ourselves. Sometimes we're so bad on ourselves, it leads us into a whole journey of being good to ourselves and saying the right things to ourselves, because we realized how toxic and how negative we were being to ourselves. And when you're being toxic and negative to you, you can't help but be that way to other people. Your neighbor is the person that you see first when you get out of bed and look in the mirror. That's your neighbor. You gotta put your other neighbors to the side. I know you cool with them. I know, y'all might go golfing, and y'all might you know kick it on the porch and whatnot. Watch some fireworks. I know, but you got to put yourself before them, so that way you can be the best person that you could be, not only to them but to you. But in order to be a good person to other people, in order to be a good employee, not employee, excuse me, in order to be a good boss, in order to be a good coworker, in order to be a good family member, in order to be someone that treats others with respect and treats other people right to the best of your ability, you have to, you got to treat yourself right and treat yourself your best to the best of your ability. And that should be your main priority. How am I to me? I'm like, you can't get caught up in trying to please other people and do for other people, and trying to not say you're pleasing people by being good to your neighbors, the ones outside yourself, but please you. Only person you need to please is God, right? When you're pleasing God, who do you think you're pleasing? Yourself. Please yourself. All right, do right by you. Put yourself first. So that way you can, in all actuality, be that type of person that you want to be out in the real world. You can be what you wanna be. Just put yourself first. Just put yourself first. Sounds harsh, sounds cruel, but it ain't. It's not. You're your very first neighbor. All right, you are your very first neighbor before you even have any neighbors. You might not have any neighbors. Well, guess what you do? They be in the church, they be like, neighbor, neighbor. People don't even love themselves. Don't even really love their neighbor like that. Uh-oh. Keeping it too real now. But how could you if you don't love yourself? If you're being fake with you're unfortunately, that fakeness is going to spill out into other facets of your life. You're going to be fake with other people as well. You can't be fake with yourself, because if you are, you're going to be fake with other people. And you got to keep it real with yourself to the best of your ability. You got to be good to yourself to the best of your ability. You got to be a wonderful, amazing, loving person to yourself to the best of your ability. And then you can be all that and then some for other people. But first, before you should even try or think about doing anything for anybody else, you got to check on you and make sure you straight first. If you didn't have anything, you wouldn't be giving something to somebody else. I'm sure you would. And I know that sounds good and everything, but you can't be trying to. We're not doing what they did on Disney Channel. We're not doing the Mickey Mouse special. All right. I'm gonna trade my coat in and freeze to death so she can have this. He's gonna trade in her. She's gonna trade in her that and not have no shoes so he can have this. And then y'all still ain't got nothing. Oh, well, I bought you this to compliment that. Well, I got you that to compliment this. Now they don't even got what they was supposed to have to be able to enjoy the gifts they got for each other. I got you some notes for your clarinet. Well, I traded my clarinet for your Easy Bake Oven or whatever it is. I traded my baking supplies for and my oven for whatever you were supposed to have, for notes for your clarinet or whatever. Got to be good to yourself first. You are your own very own. You are your very own first neighbor. You want to be good to the neighbors. You want to be that outstanding neighbor. You want to be that neighbor in tip-top shape. Well, you got to be that to you first. Otherwise, it's going to be impossible for you to be cool with other people. You got to be cool with yourself. You want to be cool with other people, you have to be cool with yourself first. You want to be the person that people will try to be, and people do this. We do this. end up trying to be somebody that somebody else likes, but we don't even really like ourselves like that. Wondering why some people may not like us like that. You got to like yourself first. Don't try to make sure anybody else likes you except for you first. And that's all I got to say. All right. I'd like to thank you for watching this video. Smash the like button, smash the share button. I'll see you in the next one. Peace, love, neighbors, and light. We out.